Welcome back. The Department of Agriculture joins the rest of the globe in commemorating World Food Safety Day. The day, commissioned in 2019 by the United Nations, seeks to build awareness and education on matters of the production, management and handling of all the world's food sources.
In St. Lucia, what this comes down to is proactively providing opportunities to constituents of the agro-food sector to learn and discuss on the myriad of ways to guarantee that the food we consume is safe, thereby redoubling efforts to keep food safety on the public agenda. By doing so, the Department of Agriculture hopes to reduce the number of people who get sick from eating unsafe food. Chief Plant Research Officer at the Plant Research and Development Division, Hannah Romaine, says her department continues its mandate of ensuring farmers receive the much-needed support to meet international food safety standards.
We want to take this opportunity to reach out to our agro-processors and let them know that, and we want you to know, agro-processors, that we now have on board a new component to ensure that the food that you are processing meets all the standards, the requirements for the markets that they're destined for. So they will now have on board a food technologist. Very soon we'll be bringing in a food safety specialist, and they are there to ensure that they can help you improve your product.
National Project Coordinator of the Food and Agriculture Organization School Feeding Program, Sherry Ann Smith, has highlighted measures being taken by her organization to enhance food safety in St. Lucia. She asserts by assisting farmers with food handling and proper crop management techniques, the school feeding program will begin to address the knowledge gaps in food safety awareness and education among all involved in feeding our school-aged children nutritious, safe meals.
Last year, we conducted an assessment of all the school kitchens and gardens in St. Lucia where food safety is concerned. So we looked at the kitchens holistically. We looked at storage. We looked at their water quality. We looked at everything where food safety is concerned. Also, the FAO, we're working very hard with the cooks, training them in food safety and quality. We're also including parents and students in this program because we know, of course, our children are very, very important where food safety is concerned, because sometimes they could take that, they could disregard the whole food safety issue.
Smith says the production and consumption of safe food remains a priority for the FAO as they recognize the immediate and long-term benefits for people as well as the economy. The same holds true for the leaders of the Agriculture Ministry. This year's World Food Safety Day theme is Safe Food Today for a Healthy Tomorrow. From the Communications Unit of the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Anicia Antoine reporting.
The first new treatment for Alzheimer's disease for nearly 20 years has been approved by regulators in the US, paving the way for its use in the UK and the rest of the world. The new medication targets the underlying cause of Alzheimer's, the most common form of dementia, rather than its symptoms. Charities have welcomed the news of a new therapy for the condition, but scientists are divided over its potential impact because of uncertainty over the trial results.
This is an historic moment in the battle against Alzheimer's. For the first time, a drug has been approved which tackles not just the symptoms, but the underlying cause of this devastating disease. Aducanumab is not yet licensed in the UK and available only as part of a clinical trial, like here at the National Hospital for Neurology in central London. Aldo Cereza, who's 68, was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 10 years ago and had to stop working as a surgeon. He receives aducanumab every month via infusion and is certain it's helped him.
I felt that I wasn't getting so mixed up. My cognitive tests were improving quite markedly.
2 years ago, aducanumab was written off as a failure and the trial Aldo was taking part in was abandoned. But the manufacturers, Biogen, analysed more data and concluded those on the highest doses had better cognition, memory and language. This is the brain of someone with early Alzheimer's. The red areas show a build-up of amyloid, a protein which can form toxic deposits. This is the same individual after a year of aducanumab. Significant amounts of amyloid have been cleared.
This is the first potential treatment that can tackle the underlying causes of the disease. And so for this reason, this really is quite a pivotal moment for Alzheimer's disease.
In recent years, over 100 promising Alzheimer's drugs have flopped. So to now have a medicine that can potentially slow the disease is a huge moment and will encourage scientists to redouble their efforts and find even better treatments. Aldo has been back on aducanumab for 6 months and says he's already beginning to feel the benefits.
I've noticed that I'm getting less confused, although it's still there. It's not quite as bad, and I'm just feeling that bit more confident now.
Aducanumab is suitable only for those with mild Alzheimer's, when damage to brain function is still limited. It could take more than a year before UK regulators decide whether to approve the drug. If they do, demand here will be enormous. Fergus Walsh, BBC News.
Many are questioning why Oklahoma, one of the reddest states in the U.S., meaning conservative, is now a wild, wild west for the cannabis business in the U.S. And what does that mean for cannabis entrepreneurs? More in this report.
It's kind of a wild, wild west. Oklahoma didn't set any limits on the number of licenses they would issue. You can drive down the street and we've got them dispensaries all around us. And now the grow is exploding. We have 3 containers we grow in, and some of these grow houses are 10,000 square feet. The big leaf plants tend to be indicas. They relax people. And the thin leaf plants are sativa, and they give you energy and focus. Oklahoma is known to be a very red state. The interesting thing is the number of elderly people who are interested in cannabis now. More people are accepting of it as a medicinal plant.
So what kind of draws outside players to come in here is cheap land. Historically, our electrical prices are cheaper than most states by a long shot. The lax regulation and the inability of the state of Oklahoma to enforce what laws they do have.
It smells really good. A little lemony.
There's huge benefits we've found, and we're proud of it, and we feel like we're helping somebody, but the market's just turned completely upside down. It's grown so fast and so much, the state of Oklahoma, there's no way they can ever visit all these places and check them out. You're inviting the illicit players in the game.
I think the American way and the free market economy way is you allow things to thrive. You allow the market to correct itself. If your Main Street all of a sudden sees a resurgence because of cannabis shops, that's going to benefit the entire community. That money ends up in schools, that money ends up in a lot of police departments, ends up in a lot of places that actually make the community safer.
It's already happening in Oklahoma. The prices are already dropping. And unless the state tightens things up and really enforces the rules, I don't think it's going to get better before it gets worse.
It's a gold rush or a curse. I don't know which one you call it for Oklahoma.
Stay with us. The latest weather report is coming up next.